Hello everyone, my name is VoidDoctor, and welcome back to another episode on the InfinityCraft Server. And today, we begin this episode on top of the barracks that we constructed last episode, and I think the sort of short-ish stout tower that connects to the main sort of bunk area of the barracks looks very nice. And it feels very at home in the context of this medieval town that we're constructing. And it also looks like a very well-defended structure. Maybe there's a garrison living here, sort of defending the town, taking up guard posts at each corner of the street, defending the town from invaders. However, this barracks/armory will no longer be the only defensive building in this kingdom, because I feel that it's time we begin construction on a medieval castle. I thought this medieval town, it's feeling a bit poorly defended right now. So this episode I'd like to begin probably just planning a medieval castle somewhere around here. I don't exactly know where, but we'll figure that out. We'll figure that out later in the episode. But this episode is probably just going to be the planning phase. We'll begin construction and finalizing the castle design and detailing later in later episodes. But beginning this episode, I'd like to begin planning and probably building up the foundation, and then we'll have detailing. We'll do detailing and probably roofing later. But this episode, I'd like to get a sort of foundation for the castle started, and also, of course, a plan and an outline. But before we begin construction of a large medieval castle, I'd like to mess with some other Infinity Crafters. I thought, there's not a lot of interaction going on between myself and the other Infinity Crafters, so what other way to get us to have some nice fun times together than to absolutely mess with their heads? And I think the best way to do that is to, of course, mess with our dear neighbor Fake Blossom over in her medieval kingdom over here. Now, I know that her medieval kingdom is surrounded by this large palisade wall, and I'm trying to figure out some areas where she probably doesn't visit very often, but are sort of in a central-ish location, so that we can fill her base with chickens. Basically, I had this chicken farm. I built this chicken farm specifically for this prank because I need a lot of eggs. What I'm going to do is build a sort of cactus or bamboo or sugarcane randomizer somewhere in her base, hook it up to a dispenser that dispenses eggs, and slowly but surely those chickens will multiply in numbers and also begin to wander about her base, and she'll start to wonder, why are there so many chickens in my base? And eventually, when she finds this dispenser, she's going to probably be very salty, but also I will get I will laugh so hard once she finds this dispenser. So I think I'm going to get the materials ready for this, because it's going to be a fairly simple redstone build, and then also gonna have to probably get some more eggs, and then we'll try and find a spot where she won't notice this chicken dispenser, but it will also be somewhere where the chickens, the baby chickens, can start sort of wandering around her town and really just bugging her, because the point is to sort of make them a nuisance. And yeah, I don't exactly know where that's going to be yet, but it's going to be absolutely hilarious once she logs onto the server and finds her base absolutely full of chickens. So let's get started on this. I just realized if she finds this and takes it the wrong way, this could mean the end of me. Alright, so as I said, this is a really simple build. It's legitimately just an observer, a cactus, a piece of sand, a dispenser, and a bunch of eggs. Probably should have brought some more things along with me, maybe some redstone dust, but this should be okay. What's my elytra at? Okay, because I haven't yet put Unbreaking on my elytra, because I still haven't been able to get an Unbreaking book, so it loses durability quite quickly, but it's fine right now. Anyway, I need to find a location to put this where, again, she won't notice it at first, but the chickens will still be able to wander around, and they'll wander somewhere where she visits often. You know, not visits often, but she'll notice them, you know? And I think probably somewhere, oh, I remember a very, very nice location. Is it in here? Hold on. Is it in this hill? Yes, it is. Okay, this is good. So this cave, unfortunately, it seems to be covered up, but if worse comes to worse and I can't find a good location for this cave could be an absolute lifesaver. And it appears that she's covered it up, unfortunately, but maybe the other entrance is not. It isn't. Okay, this is amazing. This is fantastic. This is absolutely fantastic. This might be where her mine is, but since it's going to be a dispenser, it's got sort of a cobblestone texture, so hopefully she doesn't notice it, and we can get away with this prank. So I'm gonna construct this little machine in here, and we're gonna see how long this machine lasts before Fake Blossom finds it. Alright, so it appears this cave isn't actually being used for much since she's just left some copper sitting here. So I assume she isn't in this cave too much, and I've just hidden this machine sort of inconspicuously, like the actual redstone part of it. So it's just a dispenser sitting here, and beneath it, it's just andesite. So even if she finds the dispenser, she most likely won't find the machine, and she'll just think that this is sort of a, you know, something that I just sort of gave up on. So hopefully she doesn't find this, and we'll check in later in the episode and see if any chickens have spawned, or yeah, if any chickens have spawned, basically telling us if she's been online, because I won't be loading these chunks. But, so if she's online, this prank pretty much just relies on her being online. So if she's been online, that cave at least will be absolutely full of chickens, and hopefully the rest of her base will be too. So we'll see about that later in the episode. But now it's about time we get started on this castle, and the first thing I'd like to do is just lay out a little cobblestone foundation. You know, just not a cobblestone foundation, but like cobblestone outlines of where I want towers to be, where I want walls to be, where I want the main keep to be, sort of where I want things to be placed. And then that'll sort of be a good guide of where I want to place walls. I mean, of course, we can, you know, stray away from, you know, we can sort of vary it a bit. You know, we don't have to follow those exact template, but this is just going to be a good, you know, idea. This is just going to give us an idea of where I want things to actually go, and that way when it comes to actually building up foundations and things, it'll make it a lot easier to figure out, you know, where everything needs to be spaced. And I don't want this to be a super spaced out castle. I want this to have sort of a very cluster construction, a lot of little tight spaces, some little gardens and things, but a lot of little, you know, outdoor corridors and things with towers sort of towering around you, making you feel like it's a very well fortified space. So I think we're going to lay out the structure in the form of a third-person time-lapse. No shaders though, because my shaders are having a bit of trouble right now. So enjoy the lack of shaders if you don't like shaders. And there we go, folks. So I haven't even started planning the castle, actually, but I just finished filling in this massive ditch here. This was completely natural, not a player-made thing. It was just this massive ditch in the land. And yes, I have chosen this sort of valley right here, this, small valley here, to be the location of the castle, and it will of course extend into these little into this little cliff here, onto this little cliff, and we'll probably have watchtowers at least on this hill and probably on top of this hill as well, to provide some viewing angles of the landscape around them, considering that this castle isn't very well defended right now because it is in a slight ditch, so it's at a slight tactical disadvantage right now, because you can't fully see incoming enemies from in here if this was meant to be a defensive castle. But the major benefit of this castle is that it pretty much acts as a gatehouse from this direction. So if enemies were coming in from the back of the town, then this castle would pretty much act as a gatehouse. However, the back of the castle is going to be facing this way, so I don't know how good of a gatehouse it would be, but it would still function as a pretty good defense, preventing any invaders from reaching the town, at least from this way. And from this way, you have to go through the woods, which is a whole nother issue. So this pretty much acts as a wall connecting these two hills together, and also basically sealing off most of this side of the town, which is pretty cool. So let's get planning the castle. And of course, this will still be in the form of a third-person time-lapse, because I'm really actually liking how these time-lapses are looking. I kind of missed not having shaders on the time-lapses, because there's just something sort of vanilla about not having shaders in Minecraft. And there we go, folks. I hope you guys enjoyed that time lapse. I most certainly enjoyed putting it together, and I also most certainly enjoyed putting together this sort of wireframe template sort of thing. Sort of just a guide for where I'm going to place the towers and things later. And this castle is in quite a strategic position because it's maybe one of the best defenses for the town in the town. That's a little bit redundant, but yeah, it sort of seals off this gap between these two hills, and on this side of the hill there actually is just open plains, so that pretty much only leaves this hill open to this plain over here open to invasion from an enemy, because here you have the castle, here you have a massive hill, here you have another hill, and over here you have the dark oak forest, which is fairly impenetrable, at least for a large army. So if this was actually, you know, in real life, this would be a very strategic location to put this mighty fortress. And this castle is pretty much just going to be the focus of the next few episodes, because this is going to take, oh, I've been doing some fishing too, but this castle is going to take so many hours to create, and I just thought, okay, this is probably going to make pretty good content, so let's just put this in the, you know, let's just split this up into multiple episodes. So that's what we're going to be doing. This is probably, next episode's probably going to be building up the walls and maybe putting roofs on the towers, and then the episode after that's going to be detailing and, you know, putting in maybe some interiors, and the episode after that will be finalizing everything. I think there might be a few more, you know, watchtowers, maybe something like a watchtower up there that I'd like to add, because originally I was going to put the castle on top of there, but then I completely just deleted all the time-lapse clips because I realized that hill is way too small for a castle. Like, or at least a castle of large size. Like, if you just look at the hill, it's fairly small, and so there would be no way we could fit something like this on there. This isn't even a massive castle. Excuse me, excuse my voice, I'm slightly ill right now, so we'll see how my voice fares in future episodes. But I hope you guys enjoyed this time-lapse. And there's one final thing I'd like to check up on. And that, my friends, is our dear neighbor Fake Blossom's little chicken infestation. Alright, so right after constructing this thing, I realized that the cactus just wasn't very efficient, so I switched it out for bamboo and made a whole new contraption that just broke the bamboo as soon as it grew to 3 blocks high, and then the observer here would detect it and throw an egg, and it's thrown quite a few eggs, and I realized the bamboo grew faster if you left this hole open at the top, so I just left it open because I thought, hey, she probably isn't going to come in here very often, and it's fired some. It's actually fired quite a bit, but I don't think we've had very good luck with the chickens spawning, or they're now everywhere, or they're just kind of very spread out. But I think as she is in her base more, because she hasn't actually been in her base very much. I think I was just rendering this on accident when I was like kind of over there, but perhaps, maybe, I don't think so. Well, she has been running it some, she has been online some at least, because it has been doing some very interesting things in this cave. But yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm also excited to see how she reacts to this, because I can't tell you how she'll react to this. I couldn't tell you. And yeah, so I think this is where we are going to leave off today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. My name, as always, has been VoidDoctor, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace. Also, I'm very excited to continue building that castle.